What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all a clip out from my recent breakdown of It, Welcome to Derry, episode 5. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a clip out explaining the end of the episode and the importance of what it means to Dick Hallorann and how it connects to The Shining. Before we get into the clip, I want to thank you all for clicking on the video. Do me a favor, if you like these type of conversations, hit the like button, share the video, leave your thoughts about this particular topic in the comments below, and consider subscribing and sticking around for more videos like this. With all that being said, enjoy the clip. Now we cut to a meeting with the Secret Order, or as they call themselves, the Children of Matern. They're discussing past cycles of its terror back in 1908 and 1935, comparing the death tolls. The good news is the deaths are lower than previous years and its current cycle is winding down. Now it's here that we get some very important details from the character by the name of John. He mentions that it sheds and leaves a discharge that has tainted Derry's groundwater. Now, this would explain why some of the townspeople act the way they do because the water is contaminated by it, but this also explains what's going to happen to Hallorann later in this episode, but also goes back to a scene that we later see in the future in It Chapter 2. Now, John also notes the heightened aggression within the town, referring to what they call the augury. This being the one last bloody event that marks the end of its cycle before there's actually peace and quiet for the next 27 years. Now, it's also here in this scene that Rose learns that Tanya was taken. Now, by definition, augury means a sign of what will happen in the future, an omen. Now, we've spoken to these auguries before as it relates to major events in Derry's history. For example, the Ironworks explosion or the Bradley massacre, all hinted at in the opening credits of this show. Now, based on my theories and also the trailers that we've seen of the show so far, it's safe to assume that the major events this season will be what happens at the Black Spot, which I do have a new theory I'm going to be sharing with you all later on that. And also going back to the trailers, there seems to be some massive fire at a school dance coming, and eventually we will be seeing the mist that will be consuming all of Derry. We watched the team led by Fuller and Hanlon enter the house into the sewers with their orders, unaware of the horrors that await them.
But remember, gentlemen, you'll be in enemy territory. Whatever form this enemy takes, it will use your own personal fears against you. Don't freeze. Don't trust it. If you see something that by any rational measure should not be down there, shoot it. Be vigilant. Stay safe and secure the assets.
Now, as they make their way in the sewers, we see Dick Hallorann hears the whispers of his grandmother as he takes a big step into the water, and it's here that he's transported into a haunting memory where we see his grandmother warning him that someone is coming for him again. Now, this scene reminded me of when we saw Bev was taken into the waters in It Chapter 2, and we saw Ben and Bill go after her, and we saw them overcoming their past fears. Now, this again ties back to what John said earlier in the episode about how it leaves discharge that has gotten to the groundwater. That explains the effects that we're seeing here with Hallorann, but also what happens in the future with the Losers Club facing their own fears. Meanwhile, back with the other soldiers looking for Hallorann, they hear something in the shadows. As it comes out, it is it taking the form of Uncle Sam and killing the two soldiers. Back with Hallorann, who's facing his deepest fears right in front of him when his grandfather appears with a gun on his waist. We see his grandfather has his secret box, but he refuses to open it, and we see his grandfather shoots his grandmother in the leg and opens it himself instead. Now, Hallorann realizes this isn't a memory of his grandfather, it's actually it disguised as his grandfather. Now, we'll discuss more about the importance of this lockbox later, but for those confused about this scene, this box is very important to people with the ability to shine. Think about it as a technique that people with the shine use that others aren't able to access. Now, if you all are familiar with the lore of The Shining, the use of the box is talked about in The Shining book in 1977. It's seen in the 1980 version of Shining. But fast forwarding into Dr. Sleep the novel, but in particularly the movie Dr. Sleep that came out in 2019, you'll remember a scene when Dick shows young Danny how to create one of these boxes at the start of that very movie. It's a big moment, especially for fans of the wider King universe. Our last shot of Hallorann shows him walking out of the sewers, but we can tell that he isn't himself. Something's off. We see Hallorann sees the dead spirit of Russo wandering off in the woods. Russo turns and his lifeless eyes locking on Hallorann, and the scene cuts to Hallorann's secret box that's glowing with a orange light. So, as promised, let's explain more about Hallorann's mystery lockbox. This is a big deal, y'all. It brings us right back into the lore of The Shining. Now, for those that have seen Dr. Sleep or have read the books, you'll remember the importance of these lockboxes. The lockboxes serve as a symbol of safety for the Shine users. Now, you all might remember Dick Hallorann instructed a little Danny to make it his own mental lockbox in which he can lock up the physical manifestation of the woman who haunted him of the Overlook. Now, Danny also made another lockbox that contained Horace Derwent. Now, these boxes are a sanctuary. It's a way for Shine users like Danny or Hallorann to imprison and control their traumatic memories, their ghosts that haunt them, and the overwhelming visions their abilities can bring. So again, think of the lockboxes as a way to imprison the ghosts that haunt the Shine users. Now, connect that to our ending of this episode. Dick can now see Russo's dead spirit because he's lost control. Now, going back to Hallorann's box being open, it's a terrifying signal. It means that his mental lockbox has been breached or perhaps completely shattered. He no longer has control over what he sees. Dead spirits, past demons, all fears that Hallorann has suppressed, like the trauma involving his own grandfather, can now freely torment him. Now, to put that in perspective, imagine the horror. Dick Hallorann in Derry, a town steeped in centuries of pain and suffering where hundreds of thousands of dead souls are most likely roaming freely. He's about to experience a level of psychic torment that will most likely drive him insane until he gets control of it again once its cycle comes to an end. Now, you may be wondering, why did it do this to him? Well, because it is getting its revenge. Remember, Dick Hallorann snuck up on it back in episode 3, and it is now making good on his promise of suffering. It will make Hallorann pay, and perhaps even twist his own powers against him. What a great setup for episodes to come for the rest of the season between Dick Hallorann and it. So overall, what an incredible episode. I'm torn right now between what's my favorite. This episode, episode 2, episode 1, they're my top 3 episodes thus far. Now, as far as this episode highlights goes, from the Maddie reveal, though heartbreaking, finally puts to end the theories that Maddie and Phil might still be alive, emphasizing the grim reality of its true terrors. We finally got the confirmation of Hank's affair being with Mrs. Curse, solidifying her connections to it as absolutely being key to the unfolding tragedies to come. We have the fear going on in Derry right now, and we got some backstory about the groundwater and how we know that it sheds and affects the water and affects people, and we know how that affected Hallorann, and we know it affects people in the future like the Losers Club. We have the hunt going on for Hank right now, which is only amplifying more of the fear going on in Derry. We have the children of Matern are now firmly on the government's radar and adding even more layers to the escalating conflicts. But let's be honest, the biggest highlight is the return of Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. How amazing was it to finally see him again? The pole transformation scene was absolutely incredible. It was a masterclass in body horror in an unsettling moment. And the one-on-one dialogue with Lily was a chilling reminder of how menacing and diabolical Pennywise's words can be, even without even using violence. The fact that we now have 4 more episodes with Pennywise is phenomenal. I have truly loved how they managed to hold off showing him from the very start of this show. It served as a powerful reminder that it takes many forms, preying on whatever its victims fear most, and the buildup has been excellent. The payoff of now spending more time with Pennywise is going to be one for the history books. Alrighty, y'all. So what do you all think about my thoughts about the ending and how it connects to The Shining? Is this a bad thing for Dick Hallorann not having control, or will this have him tap into more of his powers and being more stronger than ever? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Now, if you all want to see the full version of this clip, it's available in the description of this video and can be seen on the screen now, where we dive deeper into the episode. Thank you all again for watching. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hope you all are staying safe, and I'll see you soon.